Welcome to my podcast. I'm excited to have you here, have you listening. Guys, every week I have a weekly Bible study. It's based on my UN devotional, and I'd love to have you join me at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time on Zoom. So a link to all of it is posted every week on my socials, or you can get the link from yourmore.com. So I'd love to have you join me. It's punchy, it's quick every single week. So join it. All right. Did you know that there's danger in returning to what God delivered you from? So I woke up this morning and I sat down in my chair and I was like thinking about things. And I heard this statement, don't go back to Egypt. And I was like, well, go back to Egypt. What do you mean? Okay. So here's the reality of it. There's something powerful and honestly dangerous about familiarity. Because when God delivers us, right? Because when our minds can still cave to what was once held us captive. Don't go back to Egypt. That's the tragedy of Egypt. Egypt can become a mentality. Guys, it's not necessarily a place. It can become a mentality, a thought system. In the Bible, Egypt represented captivity and bondage and slavery. But it also represented opportunity for Joseph. I mean, he became the breadbasket for the world in Egypt. There was provision and protection there for a season, right? But so much, he had to go back and say, that which was meant for my evil, God turned for my good to save much people alive. But literally, Egypt. I want to describe Egypt for you, okay? Egypt wasn't just a location. Egypt became a mentality. And if we're not careful, we can physically leave Egypt while emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and behaviorally still living there. We can leave toxic relationships, but keep toxic thinking. Leave fear, but still make decisions from fear. Leave scarcity, but still make decisions from scarcity. Still believe that there's literally not enough. Leave insecurity, yet seek validation from everybody. Leave addiction, but still crave the comforts that once numbed you, right? Leave small thinking, but still shrink back every time God calls you to step up higher. The children of Israel left Egypt in one night, but Egypt didn't leave them overnight at all. It took a long time to get Egypt out of them, okay? So I think so many people that are listening to this, I mean, I've had places in my life where I'm like, oh, I'm in Egypt. This morning when I sat down and I literally opened up my Bible and I heard, don't go back to Egypt. I'm like, Lord, that's barrenness. It's prison. It's whatever. It's familiarity. Don't go back to Egypt. And here's the thing, what I've found, okay? Egypt has to get taken out of us. So many people that I talk to, including myself, have been here in this same place where God has taken you out of a lot of things. God's brought me out of a lot of things. But now he's trying to take the old out of us, out of me. He's trying to remove the old, right? So Exodus was easy. Transformation was hard. The Israelites cried for freedom for 400 years. God answered with miracles, plagues, wonders, provision, a parted sea. And yet the moment things got uncomfortable in the wilderness, they started romanticizing the very place that enslaved them. It says in Numbers 14, 1-4, and all of the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night, and all the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron, and against the whole congregation, and said unto them, would God that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would God we had died in this wilderness? And wherefore hath the Lord brought us unto this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be a prey? Were it not better for us to return to Egypt? And they said to one another, let's make a captain and let's return to Egypt. Return to Egypt, back to slavery, back to limitation, back to oppression, back to dependence, back to surviving instead of thriving. Why? Because sometimes freedom feels unfamiliar. And here's the thing, your brain is so powerful that it's always trying to protect you. So when you step out of something that's always known, it's trying to say, hey, come back, right? Many people return to Egypt because bondage feels predictable. We know what that is. You know what that life is. Egypt in a modern form, like literally still exists today. Not like geographically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Egypt is the toxic cycle we keep returning to, the fear-based thinking, the need for approval, a scarcity mentality, insecurity, addiction to comfort, limiting beliefs, settling for less than God has for you. Egypt is anything that once enslaved us, okay? It's anything. And one of the greatest dangers is that when you begin glorifying the very thing God delivered you from. The Israelites started saying things, at least we had food there. At least we knew what to expect. At least it was familiar. Isn't it amazing the selective memory that can become when we get into discomfort? The selective memory that comes when you enter into unfamiliar and unsurety. We forget the chains. We forget the hard days. We forget the oppression. We forget the tears. We forget the bondage. And suddenly Egypt starts to look attractive again. Oh, just let me go back. Oh, just let me go back. Okay? Some people miss their chains because they actually fear the responsibility that comes with freedom. Freedom comes with responsibility. Now they had to trust God daily. They had to grow. They had to believe. They had to think differently. And here's the truth. Growth can feel so terrifying because in Egypt, someone else controlled the future. But in freedom, you have to renew your mind. In freedom, you have to, the Bible says, Romans 12:2, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So transformation happens through renewed thinking, not just changed circumstances. So here's the reality of it. You've seen this so many times when people they'll win the lottery, and that'll change the trajectory of their life. And it won't be very long that you'll find them back down in a situation where it wouldn't have, in a worse spot than if they hadn't won it, right? Like literally the thought processes were still living lower, right? The responsibility level they weren't prepared for. You see that so many times, like in lottery winning situations, like they get massive wealth and they hadn't had anything close to it. And then to have it for a year or two, and then you look back and you're like, whoa, it's worse now. Okay. Egypt is what survives in our thought patterns long after seasons end. God never intended us to live in the wilderness forever. He never intended us to live in those kinds of seasons and build an identity there, right? The Bible says that you go through, you pass through the valley of the shadow, you pass through. You're never meant to build your identity and struggle, okay? Here's the reality of it. We have circumstances that we can take us back into like a slave mentality. Fear delayed their destiny. Fear and looking backwards delays forward movement. So many people today, and I've done it myself, are circling mountains today because they kept emotionally revisiting Egypt. I'm going to say that again. So many people today are circling mountains because they emotionally kept revisiting Egypt. The Bible says, remember not the former things, neither consider the things of old. Behold, I do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. You shall see it. God cannot fully move you into a new while you're obsessed with the old. You cannot drive forward constantly looking in the rear view mirror. How do you get out of romanticizing Egypt? Here is the truth about it, okay? You can't have a selective memory. Egypt enslaved you. That relationship, it drained you. It took all your energy. It would be up one minute and down the next. Always a roller coaster. The mindset limited you. The catering to fear paralyzed you. That addiction controlled you. Do not cater and give place to those things that God delivered you from. Okay? So here's the thing. This is what the children of Israel said unto them. Would to God that we had died in the land of the Lord, that we had died at the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the fresh pots and when we did eat bread to the full. They remembered the bread, but they forgot the bondage, right? Guys, that requires a renewed mind. I'm telling you, like when I sat down this morning, I heard, don't go back to Egypt. It was actually in regards to a relationship a relationship in my past that I had thoroughly enjoyed, that it served a great purpose, but had literally shifted. It has shifted, and I found myself going back to it, okay? And this is what I've found. What's in the past rarely belongs in your future. Relationships in the past, it's not that there was ever we never had we never had issues, whatever. We never had, but here's the thing, I was drawn to that relationship, and I just started thinking, okay, it was causing me to waver, it was causing me to think a little bit different, and I'm like, when I heard, "Don't go back to Egypt," I immediately knew, like, "Oh, yeah, that's not for me. I'm not going back to a friendship there." I made the decision. Guys, there are things that you have to make the decision. Don't go back to Egypt. Here's the reality. I'm in the real estate business. If I want to go back and relive the quote glory days and the years of COVID when there were 3,500 homes sold in my market, which is a lot in our market. If I want to go back to those days, I can live there. But if I stay there, I'm going to become blockbuster, non-existent. You have to evolve. And here's the thing that keeps our foot. It's we romanticize what it was like. Oh, my team was so great. Oh, they showed up on time. They love to be here. They love to do open houses. They love to do this. They love to practice. They love to, oh, the clients were so awesome. Oh, the inventory was great. Like literally, guys, you can romanticize like something, but it will keep you from moving forward in your future. I can't tell you how many times I've sat with people that have had, maybe a marriage that was really unhealthy. And maybe there was like mental abuse there. And they just get ready to break free of it. And all of a sudden fear kicks in because that is what they know. They know that. And it literally forms like patterns in the brain. I know that. And your brain starts to go, hey, you're stepping out of familiar. You're not going to know what's next. You might be alone. You might never have anyone again. You might not have this place to live in. You might not have the finances you have. Like literally, Egypt is thoughts of limitation. It's small. You break free and you get pulled back to it. Egypt is always trying to take over. Egypt is always trying to keep you out of your promised land. Egypt is always trying to keep you out of the new thing. The Bible says, behold, I do a new thing, a new thing, a new thing. Okay. God is ever evolving, ever changing. I do a new thing, but we can't take old patterns, old habits, old thoughts, old emotional crutches into new territory. It doesn't work. So here's the thing. We have to renew our mind daily. That's the thing. Renew my mind. So if I'm looking at freedom starts internally before it manifests externally. Okay. It is an interior job. You cannot sustain a promised land mentality with slave thinking. You have to speak different, you have to think different, and you have to expect different. So the Bible says in Philippians 4:8, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, think on these things, because your thoughts, my friend, determine your direction. The other thing, I've told this to so many people, I'm pretty much used to in my life, very comfortable with being uncomfortable. I haven't had a season that I felt like just be comfortable in probably 30 years, right? I've just gotten used to being uncomfortable because growth, there's always a point of discomfort. The wilderness was unfamiliar territory. Growth always is. There's discomfort in healing. There's discomfort in growth. There's discomfort in discipline. There's discomfort in becoming who you're called on this earth to become. But discomfort does not mean you're going in the wrong direction. I want to tell you that again. If you're uncomfortable, you just can't, like, you just have some discomfort there. That does not mean that you're not on the right path. In fact, it typically means that you are. Okay. So here's the thing. Oftentimes when you feel uncomfortable, it's just because you're pushing against the border guards that surround your mind that are Egypt: barrenness, loneliness, lack, poverty, scarcity, limited thinking, all the things. But the Bible says, Hebrews 11:1, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So here's the reality of it. When you're moving forward into your promised land, into what you feel like you're supposed to take the next step with, you very well may not see the next step ahead of you. Because here's what I've found in my life. I don't get a full picture of where I'm going. I just get the next step. And I so wish that I knew exactly where I was going exactly what the vision was, but I've always found just take the next step. But if I hang out getting paralyzed, getting fearful, getting an anxiety, thinking back to, oh, this doesn't fit how it used to be. Oh, that was so nice back then. Oh, the people were so great back there. Oh, da 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 da. Forget the former things. You have to press forward to the high calling. You got to press, right? So here's the thing. Wilderness seasons are preparation for you to walk in the promised land. You have to go through the wilderness. Things have to be uprooted in you. And the biggest thing that has to be uprooted is your mindset. I can't tell you how much has to, like, that literally what's between our ears is the gateway to our future. Like, we literally direct our path by how we think. Okay. So the wilderness season wasn't punishment. It was preparation. God was building trust, endurance, dependence, maturity, but also your identity, that you know who you know, that you know that you're his, that you're so formed in him, right? Because a slave thinks differently than sons and daughters do. I mean, my kids, like, they don't have to go say, oh, mom, hey, do you think it'd be okay if I slept in my bed tonight? Hey, do you think it'd be okay if I ate dinner with you guys tonight? Can Foster and I eat dinner with you and dad? Like, literally, no. They're like, hey, let's go. Like, they own us. They don't, but sometimes it feels like they sure do. Anyway, but slaves think differently, okay? So here's the thing. In Deuteronomy 8:2, it says, thou shalt remember all the ways which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee, to prove thee, and to know what was in thine heart. Wilderness reveals what's still inside of us. So if you're walking through what seems like a wilderness, maybe you have this temptation. Boy, I started to move forward. I sent in the application to start school. I made the phone call. I didn't leave a message though. I took the first class. I bought the gym membership. I looked online at my options and how to build a business plan. Oh, I reached out to a contact of mine, but they didn't call me back. And so I just dropped it. All right. So maybe you're tempted to return to Egypt, back to old habits, old thinking, old fears, old limitations, old relationships, old versions of yourself. Here's the reality. We weren't rescued. God did not rescue us for us to return back to it. And that's why so often relationships, which are the currency of the kingdom, which are the most critical things on earth, the gold in life is definitely relationships. But there are some relationships where you can be at peace, you can bless each other, you can love each other, you can wish each other well, but they don't necessarily they don't belong in your future. Most of the time that I've found, people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a purpose, but rarely ever for a lifetime. And that's the sad part. I get sentimental. I want to bring people with me. I want to take them where I'm going. But the reality of it is, a lot of people aren't going to go where you're going to go. A lot of people are comfortable staying where they're staying. And you listen to this podcast, so I know you're very growth minded, and you've got a trajectory of, I'm going to fulfill my destiny. I'm going to make an impact on this earth. And there are people that are going to try to tell you, like, what the heck are you doing? Why would you even do that? And you're going to have to move past those thought systems and those border guards, right? Freedom may feel unfamiliar at first. I made a decision and I honored my own wants. I made a decision that honored how I really felt. I made a decision that wasn't based on somebody else. I made a decision, all right? So freedom may feel unfamiliar, but unfamiliar does not mean unsafe. It just means uncomfortable, okay? In the promised land, the land of your purpose, the land of fulfillment, the land of destiny, really always feels foreign to people who've only known survival. And God has not called us to live a survival mentality. I want to break that right now. We are not called to just get by, to struggle, to strain, to live life like always from one crisis to another crisis, one trauma to another. The Bible says that he'll lead us into victory and we'll go from glory to glory. That means glory to glory, not trial to trial. So I just want to reinforce in here. Truly, you're on this earth with great purpose. You're more than your fear. You're more than your old identity. Please don't go back to Egypt. Keep moving forward. You have to think your future self, your future generations will thank you for not sitting down on the sidelines, throwing in the towels, memorializing and romanticizing the past and saying, I have to go back. I'm telling you, if you go back to that, it'll be even more difficult to keep moving forward. You'll get lost in the muck and mire of the past if you go back to it. So there's a real danger in not getting the Egypt on the outside of us. And this morning, even as I sat in my chair, pondering a relationship, and I heard, don't go back to Egypt. There's nothing wrong with that person. They're amazing. They're gifted. They're talented. But it's not where my future's at. And so I just needed to make that, okay, I made a choice. All right. I'm not aligning there. So quit looking backwards. He brought you out of these situations because there's way more ahead of you. The Bible says that your best days are ahead of you, right? That's what it says. It says your latter days are going to be better than your former days. That means that the rear view mirror is smaller because don't pay attention to it. Look forward. Keep putting a foot in front of the other, and do everything you can to get rid of Egypt, barrenness, lack, fear, limitation. Think about your future self and your future generations, and know this: if this is a daily battle for the rest of your life, that you're gonna have to go, okay, I got to keep moving. I got to keep Egypt on the outside of me. Guys, if this has been impactful or helpful at all, please share with a friend. I'm always honored to have you listen, to get your feedback. And I want you to remember this: deep on the core, you win, and you truly are more. Be blessed.